Regular council meeting. D, approve minutes of June 18th, 2019 special call council meeting. C, approve bills payable for period ending June 25th, 2019, fiscal year 2019. Is there anything anyone would like to talk about separately?
Motion to approve consent agenda items A through C.
Second. Have a motion and second to approve consent agenda items A through C. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, consider approval of resolution 970-2019 supporting a proposed realignment of Menry Road and approximately Cody Court to River Oaks Boulevard and conveying support to TxDOT and to COG.
Thank you, Mayor. Trent Petty of Petty & Associates. Our firm is honored to be working with the city on your comprehensive plan, and we've been looking at opportunities to try and create new economic development, and we have come up on something we believe has great potential for the city. I'll introduce my team. Eric McDaniel is with my office. Kurt McDaniel. Eric Wilhite is with Pacheco & Koch. Pacheco & Koch has been our partner in working through the planning aspect of this, and he's my map guru, so I appreciate both of them being here. I'm going to go through a PowerPoint presentation. I'll go through it relatively quickly, but I want to try to answer any questions that you may have. One of the things we came to River Oaks to do, that you hired us to do, was to make sure that we honor your mission and that we begin looking for new opportunities for economic development in River Oaks. Your mission statement is very, very clear on improving your quality of life and looking at redevelopment improvement in your community, and that's what we've been focusing on. Our scope has essentially been to look at your corridor, the River Oaks Boulevard corridor, and update that corridor from the standpoint of what uses and what opportunities exist within that corridor, and what standards can we employ that would really improve that corridor from a land value standpoint. As we looked at that, we began looking at existing projects that you're working on, and we began focusing on the project that COG is working on right now with meandering roads. That project has gained a lot of attention. I know there's been a lot of difficulty and consternation involving how the traffic accesses that road and what that road ultimately looks at. We think we have an opportunity to maybe improve that for the community and create a much better situation. We have met with COG about this proposal, and they have initially told us that they like it. So the question then came back to the City Council. Is this something the City Council could support? And if they can, then we believe COG is willing to change directions and do some new things with the extension of meandering. And that's what I want to show you today. All of you are very clear and comfortable with your midpoint today where Roberts Road cutoff intersects with River Oaks Boulevard, your town center, your town hall, your fire station, all those things, the epicenter of your community is really right there in that triangle. As we look at that commercial corridor, there are a lot of challenges to redeveloping that. First of all, you've got a lot of residential uses that front that corridor on both sides. And those residential uses are not going anywhere soon. It doesn't do us any good to go draw a map that contemplates those residential uses going away, because they're not going away anytime soon. So we're limited in how we look at your corridor from the standpoint of trying to create new development opportunities as opposed to just hoping things change in the future. In order to do that, we've got to go from a linear look at this corridor to really a look that says, how do we create new intersections and new energy? And we believe there's a great opportunity to do that. Traffic flow is really difficult today. Because of the way traffic comes from Meandering Road to intersect back into River Oaks Boulevard, it creates a lot of traffic congestion for your community. We believe that's something that can be addressed also. There is not any place in River Oaks today that is really a kind of a central gathering point. I'll call it a town center for lack of a better word. But most communities have worked really hard to create opportunities in their community where they can have restaurants, they can have pedestrian events, they can have Christmas tree lightings, they can do things in an area that the entire community recognizes as a place that we get together, a place that becomes very dear to the community. River Oaks doesn't have that, partially because of this long linear corridor that sort of divides the community. We believe that there's a way to achieve that. There's also opportunities in your community for old buildings and dilapidated buildings and vacant buildings to be returned to a level that we believe will support economic development for your community. In some cases, those buildings will probably go away. In other cases, those buildings could be renovated. But nothing has happened thus far in the community in a very long time to create the catalyst to make that happen. So we drive through and we see vacant buildings, we see buildings that are probably underutilized, and we see buildings that really aren't able to take advantage of the energy that flows through the 183 corridor, again, because we have not created any intersections and opportunities for new development. And as we said it today, there hadn't been any major development, interest in your community. And that's partly because they're having to look at one building at a time, one lot at a time, and kind of a patchwork quilt of trying to assemble areas to make redevelopment occur. And developers are not going to do that. They want to go where the easiest, fastest way exists to create the biggest bang for their buck. In this case, that benefits you too, because as we look at opportunities to assemble properties, they're going to look for the city as a partner in identifying roadways and new access points that gives them the opportunity to develop larger areas and not just one lot at a time. So that's what we've been dealing with the corridor as we look at making observations and changes. So if you look at the map today, the blue boundary is essentially the initial tax increment reinvestment zone boundary that you have looked at for the community. The red area is the area that we're focusing on to potentially put in a new roadway. And if you look at the yellow line, I'll blow this up as best I can for the audience because I know this is small to see. But if you take Meandering Road as it exists today, and instead of bending it around and intersecting down at the bottom like it does now, this yellow roadway essentially would extend from about Cody Court back to the east and intersect, making a new 90-degree intersection at River Oaks Boulevard. And that would occur between existing properties, and we believe it would create a great opportunity for new hard corners and new development in River Oaks. COG has looked at this and said, this is a good opportunity because one of the things COG wanted to do when they spent $16 million on Meandering Road was to create new economic development opportunities. Well, their first plan really didn't do that a whole lot. It created opportunities for a new roadway and improved access, but it really didn't create opportunities for economic development. So when we came up with this idea, we presented to them from the standpoint of, is this not a better idea when it comes to creating new economic development opportunities? This concept has been around a long, long time. It's just never been put on paper. As they began working on the joint reserve-based impact on communities and the multiple community study that they did several years ago, they identified opportunities to create areas for new pedestrian, new commercial, new economic development. That was one of the keys to that entire study. Unfortunately, it didn't go far enough to actually identify how it could happen. We believe this is one way to make that happen, is that yellow roadway essentially would become a new roadway that COG and TxDOT would design, integrate into their existing plan, and put that on the plan and pay for building that new roadway to create this opportunity. So we believe it does a couple of things. COG, as you all know, is an agency that uses federal highway funds as well as state highway funds. They have allocated this money for River Oaks Boulevard and for Meandering Road and ultimately for 199. There's a significant amount of energy that's going to be spent in this area by TxDOT and COG over the next decade. That money is going to be spent somewhere. Our goal is to make sure that it gets spent here in River Oaks, that it turns the biggest bang for its buck that you can in River Oaks. If we don't take the opportunity, the money goes to somewhere else in the Metroplex is going to spend this money. We think this represents a catalyst for you, where COG would come in and literally become a significant economic development partner using their investment and their dollars to create new opportunities for River Oaks, and we believe that they would do that, and I think it's a good idea for COG, one that they believe